so much for joining us today on the Mortgages Made Easy podcast. We're joined by Hector Castillo, who is the owner and CEO of the New York Metro franchise for Exit Realty. He is one of the biggest real estate owners in the tri-state New York area. And our first topic is we're here to discuss what realtors can do now so that they'll have a great year in 2023.
You know, it's very interesting because you speak to real estate agents today in 2023, and there is there's a misinformation, I would say. This is the first market that they experience. This is the best market experience. And I think it all boils down here, Dave, to the fact that the real estate industry has gone through a lot of challenges over the years. You know, keep in mind, we experienced the 2008 recession. We also experienced COVID, and that put a dent in our industry. So when there is a
Hector?
Yes.
You're frozen on my screen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we lost that whole thing. So let's start again.
No
I
problem.
don't know what's happening with your reception.
That is weird. You know what's interesting, Dave, that I've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings from here.
Yeah.
It's weird. Very strange.
Okay.
You know what I can do? You know what I can do, Dave? Give me a second here. Yeah, okay, yeah, let's do that. Go ahead.
Okay, let's start. So, Aaron, I'm sorry about this. We've got some technical issues, so we're just going to have to wing it and make this work best we can. Hector, what's the best advice you could give a realtor for 2020?
You know, Dave, I'm glad you asked that question because, there's quite a few agents that feel that they are having the worst experience in real estate. Some of them feel that this is the best time for them to do real estate. So, it all depends on who the agent is. But in a nutshell, Dave, what I can tell an agent is this. In January, February, March, April, this year of 2023, it is a fantastic time to do real estate. You see, here's what happens, right? All the change that we have experienced over the past few months, only happened here is that the rates went up. Nothing else. Nothing else. There is no COVID. I mean, the COVID situation we had a few years ago, it's not here any longer. It's not like we're having a recession. No, it's not. Not an inflation. The rates went up. So I think the key here is for the agents to find the time to educate themselves in many different areas so they can go out there and perform and give a better experience, a much better experience and good service to their consumer. Here's what happens here, Dave. In the real estate industry, one of the problems that I've seen, and keep in mind, I've been in this business now in 2023, I am now in this business for 35 years. Imagine that. I've seen a lot. So the biggest challenge that I find here, Dave, is the fact that many agents, believe it or not, have not been professionally trained. That is one of the biggest problems in the real estate industry. So how can we expect an agent to go and perform at the capacity that they should when they have not been professionally trained? So I'm asking all the agents to make sure, if you're listening to this, okay, training is not about having someone come to your office and speak about a topic. Training is understanding how you can perform better services to the consumer, whether they're buying or selling. How to develop your skills to be able to bring the talent that the buyer and seller is expecting. And that's what it boils down to, Dave, at the end of the day. So, listen, an agent creates their own market. The market is between their ears. That's what it is. Because if we look at how many listings, how many closes have taken place over the past few years, past couple of years, or even last year, it has been a lot. But those agents that are having a tough time are the ones who have not been pretty much educated in the industry yet.
I like the way you put it, in my terms, because we're on, we're two sides of the same coin, you and I. And by the way, I'm in the business for exactly the same time. We started up in January of '88. My experience is that the market is what you make of it. After all, the average realtor probably would be very happy doing 15 transactions in 2023.
Right.
And I've got to believe that there are 15 people who are going to buy a home or sell a home in any market that you look at.
Right.
So the question isn't, is there business to be had? The question is, how do you position yourself so that you're the go-to person? And I think the way you put it, being the most professional, being the best educated is a great start.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit more about what you mean about being the most professional realtor out there.
So here's what happens. Okay, keep in mind, look, here is a buyer that's buying a home in New York, and this is going to be most likely the biggest investment of their life. And if I was buying a property today, and I'm going to be making the biggest investment in my life, I want to work with a professional. I want to work with someone that is fully educated. God forbid anyone has to go in for surgery. Do you want the apprentice? Do you want a doctor to work with you? Or do you want the specialist to work on you? And that's where everything begins here, Dave. There are many real estate professionals. And, listen, I understand that, everyone comes into the business, they want to improve their life. But if they are not guided, if the real estate agent is not guided to the point that they need to be fully skillful in this industry, they're not going to perform the best services for the consumer. And this is the reason why there has been cases whereby a real estate professional doesn't have the best reputation in the eyes of the consumer because they were not able to give them the experience. They were not able to guide them professionally the way it should have. So, it's very interesting. We are in an industry whereby there is so much potential in so many ways. It is easier. It's not like in real estate. It's not like we have to go to college for 4, 6, 8 years. No, we don't. So all I'm asking the agents is to get out of your comfort zone. Be willing to be skillful to the degree that you can provide the best experience to the consumer that's seeking for your assistance. For those individuals that are looking for someone that's going to guide them so they don't make the mistakes, whether it's a buyer or seller.
So what are 2 or 3 of the skill sets that you think are absolutely mandatory for a great realtor?
Right. So, okay. First of all, okay. Look, let's just speak about, I can speak about a buyer situation. I can speak about a seller situation. This is one of the things that happen. If I were to meet with a husband and wife today, and I'm asking them, well, tell me something. Tell me about the type of house that you're looking for. Because I am a skillful real estate professional, I'm going to ask that question. And then I'll say this, hey, would you mind if I take notes on everything that you want on the house? Not a problem. So they're telling me, I want this type of house, and they give me everything that they're looking for, right? 20, 25 items. Now, I know that house that they're looking for most likely does not exist. It is up to me to educate the consumer. Yes, you want 3 bedrooms, you want this house, you want a house, yes. You want a 2-car garage, yes. You want a finished basement, yes. Well, that property, instead of cost, if the price that you're looking for is $500,000, well, you got to be willing to spend $1 million if that's the house that you're looking for. So what I need to do is I need to guide that buyer to explain to them, hey, listen, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I understand this is what you're looking for. Based on the marketplace, this type of property will carry a price of about $1 million. Are you willing to invest that kind of money? No. Okay. So why don't we do this? Let's go down the list and tell me, what are some of these things on this list that you could live without. And
So,
that's where the coaching comes into the consumer.
so what I'm hearing you say in that first basket of skills is number one, the skill and the confidence to engage your consumer, to engage the home buyers,
Right.
and to ask them and to do it in a way where you're a good listener. So maybe the first skill is the listening skill, and the second skill is the interpreting skill.
Sure. Yep.
And then the third thing that's absolutely necessary, you're going to be a great realtor, you have to know your market like Hector does. Because if you don't understand your market, or if you try too hard to please the consumer without educating them, you're going to end up with a problem.
Correct. Yeah, what's going to happen is if that agent does not ask the right questions and educate the consumer properly, the consumer may believe that that agent doesn't know what he or she is doing, and then they're going to bounce from another agent to another, and then someone eventually is going to tell them the truth. So why not you be the one who tells them exactly what the market bears, what the price ranges are, the type of house that they're looking for, and this is the price range for that property. This may not be the right house for you, but what if we start with this type of property first? Keep it for 5, 7, 10 years, whatever that is. At that point, let's sell it. Now you get the house of your dreams. And I've done a lot of those cases, by the way, a ton of those cases.
And I bet the exact same thing holds true when you're working with a seller, when
Yes.
when you're trying to list a property.
Totally. Yes, exactly right.
And so you have to have the courage to tell people the truth.
Yeah, you gotta have the courage, but mainly you gotta have the education. Because look, give you an idea. If you are not feeling well, you're gonna go to the doctor, you're gonna let them know your symptom, they're gonna recommend something. Same thing. You want to buy a house? Tell me all that you're looking for, and I'll tell you what's out there in the marketplace if it's reasonable. If it's the homeowner, tell me why do you want to sell? Tell me everything that I need to know about your plans about selling the house. Now that I know, well, these are my recommendations, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. Same thing. But this only comes when you are fully educated. You have gone through enough training to understand how to work effectively with buyers and sellers.
And so if you were training a new agent, somebody who just got their license, what's the first thing that you train them on?
So an agent that's joining for the very first time, I will say that before you work with any buyer or seller, ask your broker, the company, what type of training are they going to give you? What are some of the different skill sets you're going to learn? And this is the problem. Look, the other problem here is that there's real estate companies that provide effective training. There's others that don't. And this is not about, just getting licensed and working and saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent. No, it has nothing to do with that. Okay. It has to do with what exactly is it that you're going to learn to be able to sustain yourself in the business. So an agent that's coming in for the first time, what I will say to them is get fully educated. Make sure that you attend every possible class. Ask, are there any live trainings? Are there any, and by the way, they got to be professional training. Look, here's something else, Dave. Quite often, an agent goes and works with a real estate office whereby the broker may be the owner, right? The broker is the owner of the company. But does the broker has the enough skill set to train that real estate agents? In some cases, no, they don't. Because the question is, well, Mr. and Mrs. Broker, if you're the one that's going to train me, tell me what type of professional training have you taken before? And that's what it boils, right? And listen, we see this pretty much in almost any industry, whether you're a mechanic, whether you are whatever, it doesn't matter what that is. You want to know what type of training you're going to receive, because look, 85% of real estate agents, Dave, when they come into real estate, come in with no sales experience, no business experience. And that's the big challenge. So, yeah. understanding what type of training is available that your office is offering you is key. And if you feel that that's not enough for you, keep on searching.
Mm.
Which is why, Dave, by the way, which is why, Dave, at Exit Realty, we pay close attention to that. We want to make sure that what we teach our real estate agents is effective training. Absolutely.
In my terms, I love what you said about the learning how to dialogue with a client.
Yeah.
In my industry, we're always getting new software. The software that we use to take your loan application, well, it's constantly being upgraded. There are changes. Sometimes we change platforms. And so before I would take your application on a new platform, I would practice. I would practice the loan platform. I'd make sure I know where the right buttons are and where and how to enter things. Because it's very embarrassing if you're on the phone with a client or you're meeting face to face with a client and you don't know how it works. And in your terminology, if you're saying to a client, Hector, I understand you want to buy a home, and I really would love to hear what you have to say. What do you need in that house? You really be able to communicate that in a way that is sincere, and you're trained to ask the questions and you're trained to listen to the answers. Right. And that's fabulous.
Yes, absolutely, my friend. Totally. Yeah. One of the things that I also tell agents is this, the scenario that I gave before. Well, if you're not feeling well, or let's say you have to go through a surgery, let's pretend, God forbid, do you want the doctor to attend to you, or do you want the specialist? So what I'll tell our agents, what I'll tell agents is this, okay, well, yes, you become a real estate agent, but your job is to become a specialist in this business.
And what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is a specialist is the one that has reached that level of education that most agents in the industry have never reached. And what that means is investing in education, whether it's coming from the real estate office that you're working with, or it's something that you got to do within yourself. Okay. And if they are willing to invest money into their business to improve themselves, eventually that person will become a specialist.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you have to start out knowing what your weaknesses are and then get the training. So if you're not trained in sales, then maybe you need sales training.
Correct.
If you're not an expert in the software, then you have to get the software training so that you know how to do things.
That's very true, Dave. But you know what? There's one thing that's missing also based on what you said. And the one that's key for you and I, because we are in the sales business and we deal with people. You need to get training on how to work with people, how to communicate with people. And that's key. Let me tell you, that is key. Look, you know how many salespeople are out there? And guess what? The consumer rejects some of these people because they don't know how to communicate, right? And, there's so much to talk about in this topic, but I'll touch on it very quickly here with you, Dave. So imagine, let's say you are looking to buy a house, Dave, and I am the real estate professional. If I have been trained effectively on how to understand people's personalities, and if I meet with you today, I will sell you the way you want to be sold. If you are the opposite of my personality, because I am fully trained, I need to adapt to your personality. But knowing what those personalities are is key. And that's one of the type of trainings that we teach our brokers and agents in Exit, because it all starts there. You got to know what type of personality the person that you're sitting in front of is. Once you do that, you can deliver a good experience, a good service based on their personality.
What I admire about you, we've known each other for more than a decade for sure.
Yes.
But what I admire about you on this podcast is your presence, your confidence, your
Thank you.
ability to communicate. And
Yeah.
I bet that you weren't always this way, but you trained yourself in
You
how to
know,
communicate.
you know, Dave, it's like you and I, right? Pretty much everybody that joins real estate or mortgages, right? Listen, I was so green when I started real estate. I knew nothing about real estate, but I went out of my way to learn this business. It was my duty, my responsibility to learn this business, because if I was going to be here for the duration, I needed to know how can I impact the lives of every buyer, every seller. And that's why I'm, 35 years later, I'm still here.
Mm. You know, I always say that we're dealing with the largest asset that this consumer is going to own or maybe ever going to own.
Right.
And too many people in our industry, too many realtors, too many mortgage people care more about their next check than they do about the consumer. And, you know, consumers can read that.
Oh,
Consumers can read
totally.
that. And
Totally,
so
my friend.
it all starts in the heart. You always have to have that heart. You have to have that heart present.
Right.
That, you know, if there's one piece of advice that I get just talking to you and I picking up from you over the years, it's that you care truly about the people you interact with.
Totally, yeah. It's interesting you say that, because obviously I have worked with thousands of buyers and sellers in my career. So what I do now as the regional owner for Exit Realty in New York, in the New York metro area here. Now, what I do now, Dave, is I work with brokers. I work with agents. I trade them. I guide a broker that wants to grow their business, right? So what they do, they end up buying a real estate franchise. So once they become part of our network, we then begin to show them and give them the resources that they can make their own agents available, right? Because look, an agent in the marketplace is a reflection of the entire real estate company. So we, as a company, we need to pay close attention, because what agents and brokers do or say out there is a reflection on us. So we need to understand that we need to give them the resources. We need to give them effective training for them to be able to deliver a good experience and good service to the consumer. So our company always will look good in the eyes of the consumer.
Hector, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. It's been so much fun. I look forward to continuing our conversation. And this has been the Mortgages Made Easy podcast with Hector Castillo. And I'm so thrilled that you're able to join us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. Let's just go right into the next one. What time is your hard stop? Because you think.
Oh, shoot. My God, it's already 2:47. I got 10 minutes. My gosh.
Okay. So let's go right into it. We'll start again, do a cold start. And this time we're talking about, well, which one do you want to do? Do you want to do agents investing in real estate, or do you want to talk about?
We could do agents investing in real estate. And listen, it's not so much agent. I'm talking even mortgage people don't invest, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about that quickly. Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the Mortgages Made Easy podcast. I'm Dave Steinberg, and I'm sitting here with Hector Castillo. He's the franchise owner for Exit Realty in New York metro area. A great guy, really one of the smartest guys I know in this industry. In fact, he comes to the Mortgage Broker Conference several times a year to educate us about things. And you started telling me a little bit about investing in real estate. Tell me a little bit.
Hey, listen, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be able to share my wisdom here, because as you know, Dave, I've been in this real estate industry.
Okay. Start again, because you froze. Start again.
So Dave, thank you for having me, Dave. I want to thank you. Yes, I'm glad that I'm here to share some of my wisdom, some of the things that I see as a challenge in the real estate industry. And one of them here is the lack of real estate agents investing in real estate. So one of the things that we say, hey, if you're going to be in the real estate industry and you're going to help the consumer, you must learn how to invest. And over the years, what we have found is one of the many reasons why most agents or most real estate professionals do not invest is because of the lack of education. And for that, we as a company, I am with Exit Realty, but I am part of a network unrelated to Exit Realty. I'm part of a network of real estate investors whereby they teach every aspect about investing. You mentioned, we do it, whatever that is. And there's a lot of strategies that real estate professionals are not aware. There's a lot of real estate strategies that many investors don't even know. And having that education is only going to help that person that's willing to go out of the way to have that education, to have that knowledge that can help them, go out there and invest. Because listen, one of the things that we do here is when you become financially well in this industry or whatever industry, your family tree changes just because you took a step in improving the financial life of your family.
So what I'm hearing you say is that a critical element of both education as a realtor, but also achieving financial wealth as a realtor is buying investment real estate.
Right.
Can you give us a couple of tips?
Yeah, for instance, one that really to me makes so much sense is the fact that, look, real estate agents, as they do marketing, right? They do a lot of different activities. They work with buyers, they work with sellers, they do social media, they do a lot of different things, right? That's the life of a real estate agent. Okay. Most real estate agents that I know and that you may know have kids, right? We have kids. So do you know, Dave, that most real estate agents have no idea that the IRS allows them to hire their kids under the age of 18 and be able to pay their own kids up to $12,400 per year. If the kid is doing work, let's say in my case, let's say I have a child, right? 7, 8, 10 years old, whatever that is. I can have him be doing some social media. I can have him be doing some shredding. I can have him be doing some data entry. I can have them doing some filing. I can have them doing so many things. So if I am the one and I have a child and my child is doing those activities, I can pay him or her $12,400 for the entire year. It becomes a tax deduction to my company. It is a tax-free income to my kid. That's one of the strategies that our real estate investment group teaches, and there's quite a few of them, to be honest with you. And it's exciting because, look, in 35 years, I've done a lot of different investing. I looked into many different groups. I wasn't happy. The reason why I'm comfortable with the one that we use right now is because the education is there for life. Once you buy into the program, that education is for life. And I'll tell you, it really carries a lot of weight.
So what's the name of this program?
So if anyone is interested in doing so, you could go into the website. I'll tell you what the website is learn, the word learn, invest.net. Learn to invest.net using the number 2.
And we'll post that in the text below, so it'll be easier to find.
Fantastic. Yeah, I appreciate if you do that. Yes. And then there are several videos that explains the program. And listen, I can sit here for a few hours to tell you, but it's good that from the comfort of your own home, you go in, you listen to the video, and if you're interested, you can move on, you can move forward. But at the end of the day, listen, if you are a real estate professional or someone that wants to become a real estate investor, having the key education, having the right education can save you thousands, if not millions of dollars.
And the best thing about investing in real estate, the way you've described it, is it's a vehicle for creating generational wealth.
Right.
So many realtors, often realtors don't have a retirement plan. They may or may not invest in a 401k, but they don't have the tools for their own financial stability in retirement, much less the ability to grow the kind of wealth that you're describing that
Right.
they can pass on to your child and your grandchild. Um,
Yeah.
so this is so powerful. Thank you.
You know, Dave, before we go, Dave, just so you know, I want to share another strategy that they teach. And the reason why is because it's interesting because you do mortgages, right? And let's say I'm the realtor, right? But if I'm an investor, right? Think of this one here, right? You and I know, Dave, that most buyers, when they buy a house, they obtain a 30-year mortgage. So let's say the house is worth $500,000, and let's say that's what it is. They put 20%, whatever that is. Now they're going to have a mortgage of 400 and change. Well, if they hold that house for 30 years, you know, the interest rate accumulated, the house may end up being almost $700,000, $800,000, right? That's just the way it is. One of the strategies that we teach in our investment group is whereby, let's say the buyer can get that education, and we will show them how to pay off that house in 7 to 10 years without making an extra payment a year, without sending extra payment to the bank, none of it. It's a formula that these guys teach whereby the same monthly payment that the buyer has from day one is the same monthly payment they will pay for 7 to 10 years, and the house will be paid for again in 7 to 10 years. But it's a formula that they got to follow. Listen, I got involved with my group about 4 years ago, and I've been in real estate now 35. For 30 years, I did not know that this strategy existed. Imagine that. Powerful.
One of the advantages that realtors have in owning investment real estate is because they're real estate professionals, they get tax advantages that the average, you might invest in a REIT or something else, but you don't get to deduct the losses. Well, real estate professionals do get to do that, and that also creates additional cash flow. Great.
Yep.
Well, we've been sitting with Hector Castillo. Hector is really just a wise guy. Hector, we're going to post your contact information below. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us, and so much appreciate having the time. This is the Mortgage Made It Easy podcast, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.